Michael. Michael, you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, Michael, a Nigerian and a social commentator. Thank you.
Thank you. So tonight I want us to talk about, um, we've been talking about leadership in the past few broadcasts, and we are still continuing in that line, but we just included something, and that is role model, the concept of role model in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole. Recently, there was when Hush Puppy was arrested, a lot of people were saying that considering the amount of followership that he has online, that those are perhaps the kind of role models that Nigeria has produced. So a lot of Nigerian youth, I think about 2 million Nigerians were actually, I mean, not only Nigerians, but he has 2 million plus followers on Instagram. All right, and majority of them are Nigerian youths. So there was the discussion of who are the role models that we actually have in Nigeria, because most of our politicians are, we really can't say, uh, like me, I can't ask my younger ones or children to model their life after any of the Nigerian politicians currently, both past and present. So, and I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but it's just the truth. So recently we heard of Dr. Akinwumi Adeshina, about, I think a month ago, it was in the news seriously that he's been investigated at the African Development Bank. And people like me who actually love him and were looking up to him because of his effective performance during the administration of Jonathan, we were, kind of sad. But anyway, there have been a lot of development. So I don't want to preempt you. I'm sure you got a lot to say about that. So what do you think when you think about development and role model in Nigeria or Africa as a whole? And then, uh, you know, looking at the person of Dr. Uh, Additional.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think there is no better time than now in a national life for us to discuss about this issue because it is seen as one of the things affecting our society. When I mean our society, I mean Africa in general. The concept of role modeling has been, should I say, abused both by the supposed followers and, of course, the supposed uh, leaders, the supposed role models. Role modeling, by design, is meant to build an individual in such a manner that it will be easy for such individual to, should I say, ascend certain steps in life, maybe in the world of academics, maybe in the world of sport, maybe in the world of just talk of any field of human endeavor. So role modeling, it applies, and sometimes I think some people call it their father, maybe academic godfather, wanting godfather, medical godfather, or something of that nature. But looking at Africa's political environment, particularly Nigeria, it is also unfortunate that those who are within the political environment has abused this concept of role modeling in such a manner that they have used it for self-indoctrination, promotion of selfish ideologies into young people. Ordinarily, the political leadership is meant to influence social change in such a manner that people will have a national consciousness at heart. But unfortunately, it is not so in this part of the world because almost all African politicians have one interest, or rather parochial interest, at heart to pursue. So those who may subscribe to them for role modeling are being used for self-gain. Maybe during elections, they use some of these people to rig elections. They use them for campaigns. They harm some of these young people to actually cause social disorder in the society. But beyond what the status quo, I think Dr. Akinwumi Adeshina has so much dignified himself to be somebody who is exceptional. Personally, I call him a role model. I see him as somebody I can call my role model because he's been quite exceptional. He has displayed high level of intelligence, high level of integrity across his path, and beyond promoting the culture of integrity and excellence, the culture of integrity, his life is characterized with a culture of excellence. He's a first class graduate of agric economics from the then University of Ilefe, now Obafemi Awolowo University, and you know what it means to bag a first class degree. So in Nigeria decades ago, and of course his career progression is what's admiring because he has proven that the excellence, despite the fact that it is not recorded that maybe he has a godfather somewhere, he has somebody who lobby for him somewhere, perhaps. So there may be some political influences here and there, but he has dignified himself to the point that for somebody to emerge the president of African Development Bank is not an easy task, and of course to seek re-election is also not easy task. And despite the fact that there were a lot of allegations against him some couple of weeks ago, you know what it means for US, United States of America, to launch investigation against someone. And at the end of the day, he was vindicated after a series of investigations. So it tells us much about his personality, that he's conscious of his image, he's conscious of his antecedent, perhaps he's conscious of his family name, and of course, he's futuristic in his approach that he wouldn't allow just this position of African Development Bank to halt him or debar him from proceeding. Positions that he can use his experience to influence change. I'm not sure there is any minister under the former president Goodluck Jonathan that performed better than Akinwumi Adeshina. I stand to be corrected anyway, but that's just a personal opinion. And I'm so sure that he did wonderfully well because some revolutions within the agriculture sector, as I mean, he has proven that he's qualified. And permit me to make this position known. I think Africa is characterized by politicians who are always round their peg in square holes. And how do I mean? When you look at his career progression, he has been working consistently in the agricultural industry. And of course, we know one of the agenda of the African Development Bank is to promote green revolution in Africa. And he has been doing this amazingly well. So what if he has followed the usual tradition, maybe using a senior advocate as Minister of Petroleum Resources? Maybe his capacity, he may probably have been incapacitated, but it tells much about putting round peg in round hole, and he's doing well. And of course, he's an individual that young Nigerians should model after. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael. You mentioned something there that's of very key important to me, and that is the issue of professionalism in Nigeria. All right. I think we don't care. We are a group of people that do not care about professionalism. I have serious issues with people who would say, for instance, they will say, "Oh, I applied to my university for to study medicine, and then they gave me microbiology." All right. So, and you would see somebody personally. I know someone who studied microbiology, and he works in the bank. I know people who study courses that are related to sciences who works in the bank or in the management sector. But the unfortunate thing is that such people, when they go abroad, when they go abroad, you either go and start afresh, or you just begin to do menial jobs if you cannot go to school because it's expensive. So why is it that somebody will study computer science and end up as a tailor? Why go to the university in the first place? Why would I heard one of our ministers sometimes ago saying somebody people who studied medicine that they should go and become tailor. that Nigeria has too many doctors. Meanwhile, it is a lie. So anyway, now I want you to briefly join these two topics if possible for you. That is the question of professionalism in Nigeria, career professionalism. We need somebody like that to mentor. We need somebody like that to look at, okay, this is someone that has done it ahead of us, and then we can follow him, even if we don't know him personally. You understand? That is one question of professionalism. And the second thing is that when are we going to have people, credible people, professionals like him, people who can be investigated and vindicated? Because there's one thing to be investigated. It's another thing to be vindicated. Somebody in a group that I belong a few days ago was saying Buhari is the only president in Nigeria that has never been any corruption allegation against them. And I asked him, where is the corruption allegation against OBJ? Where is the corruption allegation against IBB? Where is the corruption allegation against Jonathan? It just does not exist. All right. So we are too scared to even say, okay, these people have stolen, or to try to investigate them. But we know that monies have been disappearing in Nigeria. Where did they end? So, Michael, I want you to quickly, address these two issues: the question of career professionalism among Nigerians, if possible, narrow it down to the youth and the young adults of today. All right, vis-a-vis how it affects our productivity and quality of services. And then the issue of when are we going to have many people like Dr. Adeshina in the public sector in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it all boils down to the level of unemployment. Addressing the first question about professionalism issue, I think it boils down to the level of unemployment and, of course, the poor curriculum that we have in this part of the world. Because the education, our curriculum is not the one that actually, to a very large extent, is a curriculum that we only go to school, but we are not equipped with knowledge. So most individuals just go to school on the basis of the fact that I want to back degree. Of course, going to school is meant to lead to cause social change, disruptive engagements in whether in the private sector, in the public sector, in any sector of the society. But unfortunately, because of the high level of unemployment in the society, that's why you see someone who has gone to school to study mechanical engineering because of unavailability of job or employment, the person will just go for the next available option. So the point is, if the preferable is not available, then the available becomes preferable. That is what is obtainable in Nigeria as of today. And it has to a very large extent affected, or rather, it is affecting the level of productivity, whether in the private sector, in the public sector, or in the civil society sector. So it is expected that someone who has gone to school to study public administration should not have any business doing something around, just talk of any other profession. Such individual is expected to be within, primarily, to be within the public space, solving some public problems. But unfortunately, the reverse is the case. So today now we have a whole lot of people who are just, whether you have gone to school to study. I know a brother, one of the best graduating students in my alma mater, who read mechanical engineering, and of course, he ended up in the banking sector. And of course, in some of the profession where mechanical engineers are needed, perhaps they are lacking human resources. So there is need for us to look into our curriculum and the structure in the society for us to get it right in that area. Then going to the question of having professionals, I mean people of proven record within the space, public space in Nigeria. It is highly unfortunate that the public space in Nigeria is characterized by the culture of religion, by the culture of ethnicity, by the culture of political sentiment. And this has affected the development of Nigeria to a very significant extent. I beg to ask, why would you, because of because somebody is from your tribe, you know the person is not qualified to be a minister. But yet, because of ethnic sentiment, he said, no, this person must just be minister at all cost. Let me cite the Singaporean model here. When Lee Kuan Yew was the prime minister of Singapore, yeah, I read in his document, there was none of his cabinet members, one, that operated on the basis of square peg in a round hole. No, it was strictly square peg in square hole. So if you are a professional, if you're an expert in let's say for example in agriculture, you don't have any business in the tourism sector. So and they value so much. Like I was reading that all his cabinet members, I mean Lee Kuan Yew now, all of them, they were either graduate from Harvard, graduate from this university. None of them, the highest or the least qualification by most of his cabinet members was a master's degree, and not just ordinary masters, top-notch master's degree. And when we look at Singapore today, their foundation was, I mean, was so solid that they were able to build on it. And the culture of consistency in the system is why Singapore is one of the Asian tiger economies in the world today. So I think there is need for us, if we want to move forward as a people, as a nation, we must understand the fact that we must do away with ethnicity, religion, and cultural sentiment in our public space. Otherwise, Nigeria will continue to be image of itself.
Hmm. Michael, thank you. I think your point corroborates my own notion of the fact that average youths, Nigerian youth and young adults should begin to take our life into our hands. We should stop deceiving ourselves and say a degree is a degree, any degree is a degree. It's a lie. Any degree is not a degree. If you want to follow, if you have a passion, pursue it passionately. You become over time, as you practice, you become an expert in that field, even without somebody giving you a job. You can create a job by yourself. There's so much opportunities and avenues for people to actually be able to create something on their own now, something that you know very well. And over time, people begin to patronize you, right? Anyway, I want to go to the next thing on our agenda before we round up. The Prime Minister of Japan, uh, Shinzo Abe, 2 days ago, put out a statement resigning his position as the Prime Minister of the country. And his term is yet to end. All right. So, and when I saw it, I quickly shared it on Facebook. And because I was touched. It was an Indian journalist that I saw it on his page, and I commented that Africans desperately need this. And some of those who commented on my comment said it's not just in Africa, that even in Asia, that such leaders are very scarce. So since we are more concerned about Nigeria or Africa, I would want to point your attention to the fact that some of our past leaders in Nigeria, take an example of Yaradua, President Yaradua. He was in Saudi Arabia for close to 5 months, sick, and nobody even know what was wrong with him. Nobody even know whether he was getting better or not. And he refused to hand over to his vice president. All right. In recent time, we've had President Buhari, the current Nigerian president, who was also reported to have been in the UK for medical trip for over 100 days. This was about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. So what is our problem in Africa? There's been news of one African president who actually died on the throne. So, and this man said that he doesn't want his health to stand in the way of national development. Why is it that it is too difficult for African leaders to think like that? Including the Buhari,
Well,
whom a lot of people say has so much integrity, even though it has turned out to be a lie. All right. So I want to, have you comment on that.
Yeah, the man as a being is greedy in nature, and very unfortunately that should I say we have most of these greedy elements within Africa's political environment. And of course, not limited to Africa alone, perhaps we have others across the world that maybe the media has not projected them. But one thing is very important that I want us to know, looking at Africa's political structure from inception, most especially from, from the post-colonial era, most African leaders have this sit-tight mentality whenever they are in possession of power, and this to a very large extent has affected the level of development in Africa. That's why you see Robert Mugabe, after 42 years, still wanting, despite using wheelchair, still wanting to lead Zimbabwe. The likes of Muammar Gaddafi of Libya that was killed some time ago, the likes of Ibrahim Keita of Mali, the Mali that is undergoing present political debacle. Paul Biya of Cameroon is there, Museveni of Uganda is there, and we can keep mentioning on and on. And of course, it's a shameful thing because I see it as a culture of integrity. When you know that you don't have capacity to take up a responsibility, as somebody who has integrity as a nature, as a way of life, nothing stops you from being categorical to say that this responsibility that is being given to me, I'm no longer sure that I have the capacity to actually take it up anymore. Because as a leader, most especially within the political environment, the incapacity of any leader affects everything in the society, because the constitution of the land does not give room for the president to be substituted, except he voluntarily resign or he contest a, I mean he does not win election. So except these two elements are there, it is not always possible. And sometimes some of these leaders have a way of manipulating the constitution to suit their self-interest. For example, the Alassane Ouattara of Cote d'Ivoire is also doing his own, despite the fact that he worked against his former boss, Laurent Gbagbo. He ousted him. He also is manipulating the constitution now so that he can continue to be the president of Cote d'Ivoire after successfully running the two terms that the constitution permits. So, and when we look at all this, age is a factor we should not deny ourselves this fact that affects the productivity level of a leader. But unfortunately, some leaders in Africa, of course, they are of age. We have them in their 70s, and of course, we still even those who are in power and those who are in their 70s still wanting to be in power. But little did we know that the agility of a leader, his level of charisma, his level of strength affects the productivity of the society as well. So I think it's a problem. They just want to be the custodian of power. They want to be in control of the economic control of the state, principally for self-benefit and for the benefit of their political associates. So I think it's not a good one. I look forward to a day that an African leader will voluntarily resign, just like Shinzo Abe of Japan, the Prime Minister of Japan, recently did. So and look at his statement. He said he does not want his state of earth to affect the people that he's leading. It tells us about the leader that have people at heart. Does African leaders, or rather, do African leaders really have the people at heart? Is it not just wanting to be in control of the military, just wanting to be in control of the economy of state, perhaps for personal gain? So I think we need to look into this, and that is why recently citizens are beginning to forcefully eject some of these leaders out of office because they don't see it as a sense, they don't see any sense of responsibility in voluntarily resigning from political office. That's what we saw what happened to Yahya Jammeh of Gambia. It happened to Robert Mugabe of Libya, and of course we saw what happened in Mali. So I'm looking forward to such also happening in Uganda. I look forward to that happening in Cameroon, because people in these countries are heavily being marginalized. See what is happening in southern Cameroon. People are being killed on a daily basis. Go to Uganda. People are being affected in Uganda on a daily basis. I communicate with friends in Uganda almost every day. They complain of some of these political issues, and this is the man that has turned himself to the landlord. They have turned themselves to the landlord of Cameroon and Uganda, respectively. So this narrative must change, and the responsibility is on the citizens to actually wake up to responsibility. Thank you.
All right. Michael, thank you so much for coming to discuss these issues with me. But before you go, I would want you to, because I don't want us to just lay out the problems. I know, briefly mention doable solutions. These things we need solution. I believe that we should be pro solution. All right. What is the way out? Just in few seconds. What is the way
Yeah,
out?
I have always maintained the position that no force is greater than the force of determined people. Democracy, as we know, is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And once the element of people is taken away from democracy, of course, it has democracy in that regards has turned to something else. So when people tell their people, their leaders, that they are no longer needed, of course, I don't think the voice of people, the voice of majority, should be jettisoned for any reason whatsoever. So the responsibility is on people to now begin to engage some of these leaders that know we don't want you anymore because you can no longer serve us. And this I've always advocated should be done constructively. But some of these leaders are, unfortunately, are so adamant in nature that they don't even love, they don't love to be honored. I mean, to be engaged constructively. And that is why citizens across states sometimes resort to violence in pushing out some of these leaders. You know how many weeks that the Malians have been on the street protesting for the resignation of Ibrahim Keita. So beyond that, during electioneering process, citizens also should have a target that we need to actually alternate this man that has been sitting or that has been occupying the position, the political position, for more than two or for more than 3 decades. So the responsibility is largely on citizens. And until citizens wakes up to actually demand for social change, formulation of certain laws, implementation of certain laws, and of course, abolishment of certain laws, the status quo will remain the same in Africa. So people are the cardinal factor for change if there will ever be any. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. We cannot
Thank you for having me.
overemphasize. Thank you. We cannot overemphasize the fact that even in government or leadership, nation leadership, the concept of demand and supply is relevant, right? So, thank you, viewers, for watching us and following us. Michael, thank you so much. I'm glad you are able to make time for this discussion. We will be here again soon. Thank you, follow viewers. Please do follow us on all across social media. It is uh, opinion sharers. Opinion sharers. That's what it is on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and YouTube. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is very, very important. We love you. Thank you so much. Till next time, see you again. Thank you, Michael.